right, thank you, Ed, and also special thanks to Oppen for helping to sponsor Ed Schaefer here today's presentation. So, on to the final panel, and probably these guys on the next panel, I'm sure will definitely be able to comment on the Keystone Pipeline. So Tim Fisher with Bakken Energy Services is going to be leading the panel. Tim is founder and CEO of Bakken Energy Services. Please welcome Tim. Tim?
Thank you. This is the meat and potatoes of today. If you're leaving, you guys are going to miss the feet on the street guys that are here to talk oil. These are the guys that have the muddy boots. These are the ones that are out in the field. These are the guys when they talk about investment, they know about investment because they're the guys that are investing. So in this situation, I really believe we have a fabulous panel. As soon as Ken gets up here, because I know it's been a long day for you, but I do know that these gentlemen will keep you awake. Jeff, thanks for putting this conference together. Really appreciate it. It's an honor to follow former Governor Schaefer. The last time I was up on the podium here, he was also up with former Governor Tim Pawlenty. Rumor on the street is that Governor Pawlenty could not make it today because he's in his living room next to a telephone waiting for us all. So we'll see what happens there. Also want to thank my daughter actually for flying up from Fort Worth, Texas. Her husband's in the oil industry down there. And it's interesting to get a Texas perspective. They're a little bit concerned that North Dakota, Bakken, Williston Basin is going to take them over. If that does happen, they've all agreed that they're going to secede from the United States. So, 3 grandkids down there thinks that all the Texans are great, and at this point they do too. I'm honored to be the moderator here today. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I'd like to, we're going to go through the panel. The first person I'd like to introduce is Tony Strockwaden. Tony's right here. Tony is the Government Affairs Manager for Alliance Pipeline. Your pipeline questions on Keystone. He is not involved with Keystone, but when it comes to pipeline, I do know that Tony's going to have some real-world answers. Also, Jack Ekstrom. Jack is the Vice President of Whiting Petroleum Company. If you're ever out in the Bakken, if anyone is looking for work, if you can get a job with Whiting Oil, you're golden. And I'm not saying that just because Jack's here. When I first entered out in the Bakken, I said, okay, if who's the best company to work for? They said, well, Whiting. Whiting was there before it was cool. Whiting has a great environmental record. They treat their employees fabulously. And I think that there's a whole bunch that goes on the side of Whiting.
You're hired.
But he doesn't do PowerPoint. So, and then finally, Kent Ellis, Aurora Energy Solutions. What we're going to be doing here, I'm going to go through and ask questions to each one of the group. But prior to that, what I'd like to do is have them do an introduction. So what I'd like to do is start off with Tony. Would you like to do an introduction on yourself?
Sure. I'm with Alliance Pipeline. I've got a short PowerPoint we'll go through in a few minutes, which will talk about who we are, what we do, and what our impact is now in the Bakken itself, taking away rich natural gas, which is really where the value is not only the methane that's being produced today, but also the natural gas liquid that's entrained in that methane that's produced alongside the oil. I've been with Alliance roughly 13 years now and managed both in Canada and the U.S. It's interesting the different political systems we have, both of which can be fun, both of which can be challenging, and we look forward to giving you some more information in a few minutes.
Ken, do you want to go through the PowerPoint presentation?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll kick off the first one. Let me jump up and talk about this, which jump to 3:30 Tony. And this will, flip slide.
Right side. There you go.
Okay. First off, before we start, it's something I do at every conference I speak at, and I do it probably 6 or 7 of these a year in different contexts. And especially if you're in the real estate business, you may see new people come into your communities, new homeowners, folks that aren't familiar. The one thing that's critical for all of us as individuals is using the one-call systems in your state. It's call before you dig. It's a free service. It's critical that homeowners or individuals that are even digging, putting in trees or landscaping, call the one-call center in your state. And what you'll find here is the phone number in the Chicago area for the Chicago Utility Alert Network, or for Julie outside of that. It's a free call. Call 48 hours before you do the excavation, and the utility in the area will come out and locate that utility for you and indicate where you need to hand dig around that. There's been some significant issues or incidents, not so much here in Illinois, but certainly in other places. Last year in North Dakota, there was a fatality because they didn't utilize the system. So it's critical that you use the one-call system overall. 811 is the easy way to remember that. It's a toll-free number. It'll connect you to your local one-call center. The Alliance Pipeline system itself was built back in 1999 and 2000, went into service in December of 2000, moving natural gas, rich natural gas, from British Columbia and Alberta, from the Western Canadian Sedimentary Basin. It's a 2,400-mile long truck. We do not own the energy, we transport it for a fee. We're a regulated utility model, if you will, in transporting that energy to market. When we put this in the ground in 99 and 2000, it was a $4.5 billion investment at that point. We've been full every day since that point, moving energy. Guess where to? Here in the Joliet area. We delivered to a plant that our sister company, Oxable Liquid Products, takes that gas stream, processes out the natural gas liquids, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, 85 to 90,000 barrels a day of natural gas liquids is coming in from Canada. 18% of the Canadian exports of natural gas and natural gas liquids come through our pipeline. That's approximately 2% of what we use on a daily basis in the U.S. We're also connected into the Bakken itself. In April of 2009, 2010, we connected to a line that transports about 18% of what's being produced in North Dakota today across our system. We've got a great record of safety and transporting things. Why is pipelines important in North Dakota, especially natural gas? Well, if you've seen this picture, you get an idea of, okay, Minneapolis is here, Bismarck, North Dakota. That's the Bakken oil field. The natural gas that's being produced alongside or as a result of the oil extraction is being flared. It's being burnt today because there's limited amount of infrastructure to take that economically to a market. So it's a challenge. So one of the reasons you want natural gas pipeline companies to come in and work with producing companies like a Whiting, like a Continental Resource, is to help take that gas, take it to a viable market itself. So it's pretty interesting when you see that picture and just how much energy is being produced that way. Alliance is in the process of permitting a new line, the Tioga Lateral, which will go from Tioga, North Dakota, here just outside of Williston, and take it up to our existing main line and drive that energy into Chicago. It's a new line, 80 miles, 12-inch. It has the capacity for another 106 million cubic feet of gas, which would represent about another 20% of what gas is being flared in North Dakota today. It does create economic value for the state, for the mineral rights owner, for the producer, and obviously the local communities as well. It will also reduce natural gas flaring in the state itself. We are a federally regulated project because our mainline pipe in the U.S. crosses interstate borders. We're regulated by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission out of Washington, D.C., so it's a federal project. So we're in the middle of permitting this project. Last Friday, we got the environmental assessment released as a draft by the FERC. That gives a 30-day window for public comment. And once that public comment expires, we address any issues that might be raised. They will issue a certificate of public convenience and necessity, and we then begin construction. We'll do a winter construction. Interestingly, winter in North Dakota is a great time to construct pipeline because there's so many wetlands that we're crossing in that north-central part of North Dakota. We've got an implicit promise of not only providing safe environments around our pipelines, but also one in working in the community as a member of the community, investing in the community, and also working with landowners to restore the land that we put this pipeline in itself. We've got a commitment to those landowners, and we've demonstrated that over the past 12 years that we've been operating our main line. We will apply the same philosophy as we build this new pipe from Toyota. This gives you an example of our existing right-of-way, which the pipe actually goes right through there, as well as right through here. So this is a cropland. I believe that's soybeans that it's going through, versus rangeland or pasture. So there's minimal scarring. We continue to work with landowners to come back and allow them to continue raising crops, raising livestock over the pipeline itself. So we work with them diligently overall. It's the same standard that will apply as we look at this new project as well. We're also looking at a new opportunity to work with the University, or North Dakota State University, to do a research project on how do you take native prairie and restore that after you've put in infrastructure. And certainly there's still a fair amount of native prairie lands in North Dakota. As we put in gathering lines, as we put in transmission lines for gas and oil, you've always got to come back and do some restoration. How do you best restore that? We'll work with the university, work with landowners to come up with the best solution and really work to make that happen. Something that will share beyond just our use, but within the industry and within the state itself. We've got a lot of commitments and a lot of investments that we do on a community base in North Dakota itself. This just gives you some of the ideas of some of the things we do. Native prairie restoration, we work with the FFA around how do you get back to agriculture in that community, Farm Bureau, etc. So we're committed. We're in the state for the long term. We've had a long-term asset in there. We're transporting energy safely and efficiently. We intend to do the same with the new project coming up. We should be in service, assuming we have federal approval later this year in June of 2013, starting to transport some of this gas, capturing this gas that's being flared today, moving out of the state. Again, we're committed to safety, we're committed to working well to restore the land and to be part of that community itself. And with that, that's the end of my show. We'll look forward to questions at the end of the panel.
Thank you, Tony. As you can see, there's an impact right here in Illinois. Juliet, this is where this natural gas is going. So when you think that the Bakken is only the Bakken, it's amazing how many different states it affects. And you're one of the beneficiaries of having that pipeline coming into this area.